Welcome to today's session, Control Your Environment by Managing Tags at Scale with CloudClarity. Sylvan and Tim from CubeSys, the CloudClarity folks, will be our main presenters, but right now I'm going to hand it over to Wayne Meyer to talk about the Cloud Adoption Framework in this series.
Cool, thanks Matt, and good to be back again. It's kind of probably one of my favorite series that we've been running. If folk remember back, we've been actually doing this for some time now throughout the last 6 months, really starting off with an overview of the adoption framework and kind of just stepping through all the various pillars, and we had multiple sessions. This new series, as we've kind of already alluded to, we've got a couple of great ISVs that we're starting to bring into this track, and then to start talking about what they do. We started off with the workboard team just the other day, looking at business outcomes, how to kind of drive outcomes and clarity across your organization using OKRs. Yesterday, Matt and Julian did an awesome job with some of the work around the AZ Gov Viz. And I think that leads itself well into really kind of today's session. The AZ Gov Viz tool kind of spoke a little bit about how do we think about governance and looking at governance and getting a single view of your entire Azure environment. Today, we're going to really kind of jump in, and I know this is near and dear to many customers' hearts, right? Just tagging and tagging management at scale is a top concern every time I kind of talk about the adoption framework. When you talk about customers, onboarding, the first thing you'll say is, yeah, we're trying to do tags, or we're using tags, but we kind of struggling with them. And I think this is one of these solutions that I think really does a great job of really managing tags and getting visibility into that environment and some of the operational aspects kind of at scale. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Sylvan, and Timo is going to kind of take us through the tagging solution that they've built. I do want to call out, continue to ask questions within the IM window. We'll be monitoring. We have got a bunch of other new sessions coming up in the next week or so. We'll get them all published into the CAF series, aka.ms/CAF series. We'll put that link into the IM window as well. But without further ado, Sylvan, Timo, over to you. Let's hit it.
Thanks, Wayne, and thanks to the Microsoft team for having us here today. I'd like to welcome you to this session, which is all about Azure tags. My name is Sylvan. I'm co-founder and CTO at CubeSys, and I'll take you through this session today. With me from the CloudClarity team, I've got Timo, product owner and tech lead. He's doing all the demos. We've got lots of demos for you prepared today. And John, our lead developer, he will be answering questions in the chat. So if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them. And we should have some time at the end to answer questions. Getting tagging right is essential for a good operational practice and effective cost management in today's cloud environments. So we will show you how to get visibility of your tags, how to validate your tags, how to validate the tags in your environment against your own standards, and how to manage tags efficiently and ongoing. Finally, we'll touch on tagging best practices and share our learnings with you. Before we dive into the demos, welcome to NORTHWIND Traders. I'm sure you heard that name before. We'll use NORTHWIND Traders as a fictional company to walk you through use cases and demos. All of those are based on real-world scenarios. Some quick facts about NORTHWIND Traders. They rushed into Azure without a lot of planning. They have some loose standards in place, but their environment is not optimized. They have not fully shifted to a modern cloud-aligned operating model using DevOps and infrastructure as code. And their cloud consumption costs are not under control. Meet the NORTHWIND Traders people. So Timo is not only doing the demos, but he's also acting as our Azure engineer. Myself, I'm playing the role as the CIO, and please also meet Carrie, who is our fictional CFO. Carrie provided a budget based on on-prem costs before they moved to Azure. In the table below, you can see a line item for each business unit. Currently, the total monthly spend is over $50,000. But Carrie is unable to determine which business units are overspending. So let's see if we can help Carrie to find out the exact spend of each business unit for the past few months during this session. On the left, we see the representation of an Azure environment. The hierarchical view is familiar to us as tech people. So we basically have the management group, the subscriptions, the resource group, and the resources. But people in different roles have different requirements to look at this environment. They want to look at this in a more logical view. So, as we said, for Carrie, she's interested in business units. So she wants to see all the resources grouped in business units so she can get to her cost breakdowns. Myself, I'm also responsible for compliance. I'm interested to see which resources are confidential, and I also want to make sure that all my resources are labeled. For Timo, it's environments. So he wants to know whether a resource actually belongs to a dev, UAT, or production environment, which in this case is all in one subscription. So the question is, how do we get to these logical views? For that, let's talk about tagging. So you guessed it, with the help of tags, we can create these logical views, and that's what we're going to show you later in the demos. Also, tags help to describe the environment, so you don't have to look for this information elsewhere. So think of design documents or any documents for that matter. Having the information available in the platform is super powerful for anyone who looks at it. The tagging information can be used to break down the cloud consumption cost, and it allows us to create tailored views based on our own parameters. Compliance, that's an example I just made before. And I also like the use case of automation. So we can store information required for a parameter during runtime directly on a resource, which is super helpful. So let's jump into our use cases. With what I learned as NORTHWIND Traders CIO so far, I'm convinced that we need strong cloud governance in place to solve the problems we're currently facing. So with that in mind, I asked Timo for if our tagging strategy is executed. Timo's response is, we use tags, but getting an overview is not easy. So I asked Timo, can CloudClarity help with this first use case to get a good overview of our tags? And can we see if our tagging strategy is executed? So with that, over to you, Timo.
Hi everyone. Sylvan has asked me to validate if our tagging strategy is executed in our Azure environment. So today we'll be looking at a subscription NORTHWIND traders use. NORTHWIND traders have begun using the Cloud Adoption Framework minimum suggested tags as a starting point for their tagging strategy. Unfortunately, evaluating the effective use in the native Azure portal with views like the tag component can be hard, particularly when there are many resources. So here at CloudClarity, we've created an easy way to validate the effective implementation of a set of tags for a given scope in Azure with a tool we call Tag Health. By default, it evaluates the Cloud Adoption Framework's minimum suggested tags, but you can set it to evaluate any set of tags you like. So upon loading the tool, we're presented with the scope selector. The choice you make here tells the dashboard what scope you want to review resources at. You can choose a management group as well as a subscription or resource group. Today I want to look at my IT Dev subscription, so I'm going to select it. Okay, now that we've selected that subscription, but I also only want to look at resources I'm the owner of. So in this case, I'm going to filter the resources list further by only looking at resources using the only tag where the value is Timo, which is my name. I suggest if you're not using an only tag, it might speed things up for you a lot in the future with report consolidation. Okay. So you can see that the number of resources we have has gone from 29 down to 23. One thing I'd like to additionally note is that this tool does scale very well, and we've tested this on subs with thousands of resources. Okay, so now we want to create a validation set that we want to evaluate. In this case, I've already pre-configured the tool to evaluate the Cloud Adoption Framework's minimum suggested tags. However, you can also create custom sets that you may want to evaluate, but by selecting Create New and defining the tag keys you'd like to evaluate. So to simplify things today, I'll just evaluate two tags inside the CAF minimum suggested set. To do this, I'm going to title the tag set Business Unit and Criticality. And I'm going to select Business Unit from the tags key selector, and I'm going to select Criticality. And then I'm going to hit Add. This will generate near instantly a report on the overall tag health of the scope I earlier selected for the tag set I just made. So straight away, looking at the overall score, we can see that we have some work to do with a score of just 86%. So the way the scoring works is that you gain points for every resource that is using a valid tag set. which above shows is business unit and criticality, and also has when those tag keys have a value applied to them. If we look at the tag value usage, we can see that business unit has a score of 86%, while criticality has a score of 95%, and almost there, with almost all the resources using that tag. Once we go to the tag key usage though, we can see that the tag keys may not be uniformly applied, with some partially tagged resources found. Okay, so not only does tag health allow you to report on and review tagging, but we can also remediate these resources directly from this view. Now, because business unit is quite low, it'll take some investigation, so I'll fix this score up in part 2 with another tool we have. But for the demo right now, I'll just focus on criticality. So the first thing I'm going to do is update the validation set to just look at criticality. Then I'm going to come down to the resource usage accordion that we have. The resource usage accordion here allows you to review resources that are not tagged, partially tagged, or fully tagged. So straight away I can see that there is a stray resource that is not tagged in the accordion. If I click on the tag, the tool will open up our tag allocator. From this view, we get a breakdown of all the resources and how they're using the criticality tag. Each row in the accordion represents each tag value. If you open up the accordion, you can see the resources that are using the value. For example, we can see that criticality high has 5 resources. Below we can see that there is one resource that is untagged at the moment, and this is the culprit of our imperfect tag score. Because I'm the owner of this resource, as we previously defined to only look at resources that I'm the owner of, I know what its criticality is, in this case it being a marketing asset for blob storage on a WordPress site. So I want to assign its criticality to low. To do this, I'm going to select low from our drop down on the top right, and then I'm going to hit the big arrow on the resource to tag this resource as low. Once I hit save, this will write back natively to update this in Azure. Once this is completed, we should see the tag health report update. And as you can see now, we're hitting 100%. If we go back to Azure, we'll see that that resource should now also have the criticality tag written to it. As a nice final touch, you can export this PDF and share it with your colleagues to show that you have 100% tag health for the resources you own. I can now let Sylvan know that our tagging strategy had some issues, but that we've been able to address them quickly and fix these problems using CloudClarity's tag health. Back to you, Sylvan.
So to summarize, with CloudClarity we can validate our environment against the Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework or your own standards. We've seen how to verify the tag health ongoing and act by correcting and changing tags right in the tag health view. We have also seen how easy it is to identify what's not tagged and what's not in line with our tagging standard. Armed with this information, we jump into our second use case, which is about efficiently managing tags at scale. I'm asking Timo how to improve our tag health further. Timo responds that the outstanding issues that we have identified will take a long time to fix. Timo, can CloudClarity help to efficiently fix these tags? Over to you, Timo.
Okay, so for this portion of the demo, we're going to investigate and fix that pesky business unit tag that was bringing down our CAF score before we can reach full circle, that's stopping us from reaching full circle with our tagging strategy. So first I'm going to open that business unit tag health report. And just a reminder, it's still sitting at 86%. So we created a tool called Tag Manager that allows you to review your tagging consistency in a matrix. So I'm going to open Tag Manager and see if we can fix this problem and fix up that score. So Tag Manager generates a list of all the resources inside my subscription in resource group accordions. If I open up these resource groups, it shows the resources. Currently we have no tag keys selected to review, so I'm going to add some tag keys here to review, in particular the business unit tag key. To do this, I'm going to select our tag key drop down. This drop down pre-populates with all the tag keys tenant-wide you have. On typing B here, I notice that there's an inconsistent usage of the business unit key in the tenant, with both business-unit and business unit keys found. So I'm going to add them both and see if these are the culprits of our low tag health score. I'm also going to add the owner tag here to ensure that I'm only looking at resources that I'm the owner of. So now we've selected the tag keys, we can review and compare the resource tag values for the corresponding resource row. And it looks like for the first resource found, it's tagged as marketing under business-unit, while business unit is empty. So straight away this tells us that there's an inconsistency somewhere in the environment, either with a script or with a general business understanding of the tagging name conventions. And unsurprisingly, we commonly see this with clients. Say this was a big subscription though, and remediating this in a view like so might take ages, and a lot of teamwork and a lot of consolidation might be required. This may need to be shared, reviewed, and modified by multiple team members. So that's why we created the export-import CSV feature. So if I hit export to CSV, this will automatically generate a CSV file of this matrix. Upon opening the tool, we have the same columns we have in the tool, that being the resource key, resource name, and also a couple extra columns such as resource type and resource group. Most of all, though, this view allows us to quickly identify and consolidate business unit and business-unit. As we can see in this case, wherever business unit is missing a value, business-unit has the corresponding correct value that we need to update it to. So here we can quickly and easily update it like so. If I then hit save and import this back into the matrix, the updates will update in the live matrix view here. We can see that the highlighted changes are in orange. If I then hit save, this will write back these changes to Azure and probably fix up that tag health score. And we can see that that update went through. Now there's one more thing we need to do here, and that is delete that old business-unit tag. So just like in tag health view, you can also tag and untag directly from the portal view here with our tag allocator tool. So I'm going to delete that tag right now. The first thing I need to do is select untag mode. Then I select the tag key heading cell for business-unit and assign all the values inside here to untagged by hitting the X. I then hit preview, and just like with the update view, the tag values show as updated in the live matrix view here. If I then hit save, this will write back this to Azure, and once this updates, that tag will no longer exist in our environment. So if we look at our update summary, we can see that this update was done. And looking at the matrix now, we can see that there are no values for the business-unit tag, and no resources are using this tag key anymore. So in a very short amount of time, we've consolidated the business unit tag. And as a final get out of jail feature, we've also included a tag version history. So any updates made in this view can be reverted to a previous state. We also in this view provide resource group tagging and CSV import export and version history on resource groups. And there's another really cool feature in the resource group view. We have what's called an ARM visualizer view, which generates a visualization of the relationship between resources and extensions and what tags they're using, which can be a really easy way to identify information about a resource. So let's head back to tag health now and confirm if our tag health score is at 100%. And let's load the CAF tags, which is already preloaded here, and see if it's 100%. And huzzah, it is. We now have confidence moving forward because our tag health is 100%, and we know that our governance is effectively implemented in our environment. Let's export this as a PDF and share it with our team. Okay, back to you, Sylvan.
Thanks, Timo. So, to summarize, the CSV export-import is a powerful tool to fix and streamline tags in bulk. Tag history can be seen as a safeguard to revert to a previous state, but also helps with compliance, so you can see who changed what and when. We haven't seen tagging at management group level, but this same matrix where we summarize all the tags and the tagging functionality with the tag allocator is available on management group level as well. We also saw how to use existing information to set tags and how the ARM visualizer gives us more visibility to understand our environment better, and this information can be used to set tags. Let's go through our third use case, where we look at tag-based cost reports. So Carrie says again, we need accurate numbers for those business units we talked about before. I asked Timo, can you please provide a consumption report for the past 3 months? Timo responds, the tag-based reports only work for the time span the tags were set correctly, which is not even a month. And if that's not enough, Carrie also decided to create separate business units for sales and marketing, so they will be split. So it looks like we have quite a task at hand. How can we report on business units and split sales and marketing numbers? Timo, can you help again?
Okay, so management has asked why the sales business unit is not found in the current cost report. And they want us to find and tag the sales related resources, if any are untagged, and update the cost reports for the year to charge back any missed costs. Also, any previously untagged costs should be charged back to the correct department. So the first thing I will do is open up Azure Cost Analysis. This view breaks down the last 12 months with the business unit tag. And we can see that there are costs assigned to marketing and IT. As expected, there is no sign of a sales business unit anywhere, so the sales tag must not be correctly assigned. But at least we can see that untagged costs have gone away. So the way Azure Cost Analysis applies cost to tag values is once a resource is tagged with a value, from that moment on, any costs generated by that resource are applied to the tag value. This is great when you have your tagging sorted and for looking at a historic view of cost. But if we tag the missing resources with business unit sales, this report won't change immediately, and we won't be able to consolidate any incorrectly assigned costs. So to address this, we built CloudClarity Cost Summary, which I'm going to open now. I'm then going to filter costs by the business unit tag by selecting business unit. The power of this view is that once we tag resources as business unit sales, the changes will immediately update and be reflected in the cost report. So right now we can see the business unit has 2 distinct values, with red assigned to marketing and orange assigned to IT. So today I'm going to update a missing VM as business unit sales, and we should be able to see this change and charge back nearly immediately. To do this, we open up our tag allocator for the business unit tag, which you can open by clicking a row in the table. This then opens our tag allocator that generates a view for the tag business unit and the containing resources and what value they are currently assigned to. Each accordion shows different values business unit uses: marketing, IT, and finance. To the right of the accordions is the total annual cost assigned to those resources. And if we open the accordion, we can see the resources for each of those values. As expected, nothing is found for sales. And if we look at marketing, I can see that the missing VM, My WordPress 1, with an annual cost of around $500, is assigned there. And this is the one that needs to be assigned to sales. So I can create a new tag value by going to our assigned selector and typing sales. This creates a sales value column that we can then tag resources with in the same view. Currently we can see that sales has an annual cost of 0. If I hit the arrow on the My WordPress 1 resource, this will assign the resource to sales and in real time update the total annual cost that sales own, which is now at $500. Okay, so now we've updated this in our view. If I hit save, this will write back this and change it in Azure and update our cost summary report and make sales own part of that business unit costs. Okay, so that's already written back to Azure. So that VM is now tagged as sales under the business unit tag in Azure. And if we reload the Azure Cost Analysis tool now, we'll see that there is no change. And this is because, as I mentioned before, it's only looking at the accumulated tag value cost from the date it's applied to a resource. So this will only have an impact going forward for new cost summary reports. Now if I go back to CloudClarity's cost summary report, which has just finished loading, we can see that this change has had a big impact on our business unit cost report. There is a massive new white area in our graph, reporting, and we have been able to create a chargeback for sales for those earlier missing and incorrectly assigned months. So straight away we can see how easy it is to create a chargeback on untagged or incorrectly assigned resources. Now say I wanted to start monitoring this view, I can load it up in the dashboard. The dashboard summary view is a powerful way for the tool to create cost views and save them and load them, and create powerful tag value comparisons. So in this case, I want to create a business unit report and make it load by default. First thing I'll do is select the Tag Manager subscription that we've been using throughout this demo. Once this loads up, I'll then add the business unit tag to groups. This will slice the total cost based on the business unit costs for each month to the graph. And as you can see, marketing and sales own a large portion of that cost, as we saw in the cost summary report. Finally, I may want to see comparisons where both business unit and criticality are combined, the two tags we fixed today. So by adding both these keys to groups, the view will generate all the combinations of resource costs where both business unit values and cost criticality values are applied. So now we can see the value combinations, such as business unit marketing and criticality high, which is owning most of the costs, and business unit sales and criticality high. It's good we've applied high criticality to these resources, as they own a large portion of the cloud spend and are vital to our cloud operation. As we can see, medium criticality resources also own a smaller but still significant portion of the cost. Finally, anything done in the summary view can be saved, and this view also generates a powerful deep link which you can share with your team. So right now I'm going to save this as my default view, and from this point on, anytime I load this screen, this view will be loaded automatically. You can also generate other views that you may want to save and load on the fly. Alright Sylvan, so that's how you can create chargebacks to a tag value and use the dashboard view to monitor cost changes with tons of granularity. Back to you.
Thanks, Timo. So to summarize, with CloudClarity we can not only report on cost, but we can allocate and reallocate cost in real time by simply changing tags. We can get a quick cost breakdown on any tag and therefore any metric that's important to us. The Microsoft cost analysis reports in the Azure portal are great once the tags are set correctly, so I really encourage you to use those. Dashboards is really a great feature. I really like that one because it provides cost visibility and therefore drive cost accountability. So think about an example of a product owner or a project manager which needs to keep track on cost. They can easily do that by looking at the dashboard. Let's dive into tagging best practices. On the left, I've listed some of the problems that we see coming up again and again, and I will walk you through them. The first two are tags not streamlined and no meaningful tag values. So we all basically know that we need good tagging standards and we need a tagging taxonomy, so everyone knows how to use tags and how to set tags in our environments. That's true for tag keys, but also tag values. Microsoft's Cloud Adoption Framework documentation provides great resources and examples to define your own standards and strategy. So I noted possible solution as tagging standards and tagging taxonomy, and I really encourage you to look at the Cloud Adoption Framework documentation if you haven't already done that. The next two are updating tag values in templates and mandatory tags slow down deployments. So obvious solutions are to keep tags in code to a minimum and to keep mandatory tags to a minimum. But these were probably a bit more controversial, and there's probably not one solution that fits for everybody. But when you define a tag, think about the purpose of this tag and how frequently you expect the value to change, and whether the tag values are known during the deployment of your resources. This helps you to define if the tag should be mandatory and how you want to manage that tag ongoing. Changing a business unit tag, as we've seen it in the example, in code could be quite painful if that repetitively changes. Tags not consistently applied. So I think you've seen how valuable tags are when they're set consistently, so check and verify your tag health. Use a tool like CloudClarity Tag Health to do that, or create your own scripts to make sure that you can verify the tags in your environment. Tag values not known to engineers. So for that one, I would suggest you involve non-IT people for your tagging. So it definitely helps to have people who do have the data that needs to be set in the tag values, help with that effort. And also with an easy to use tool like CloudClarity, you can delegate tagging away from engineers and developers for at least some of the tag keys. So now let's have a look under the hood of CloudClarity. CloudClarity is a SaaS application. It's fully Azure Marketplace integrated, which means it can be built directly to your Azure subscription in the currency you like. You can use the same account to log on to CloudClarity as you use to log on to the Azure portal, and you'll only see the resources you have access to. So you fully respect the RBAC that we have already set in Azure. CloudClarity is then used to change tags and read cost data through the Azure APIs. So we see CloudClarity as an extension of the Azure portal, and we natively integrate with the APIs to interact with tag and cost data in Azure. At the bottom you see a list of all the features we've shown you today, so that's Tag Manager, Dashboard and Cost Summary. Just a few words on our roadmap. We've always got lots of ideas and things we're going to put in the product. So auto tagging is the first one. So with that, what we really want to do is read the information out of the platform and put it in tags. So think about things like deployed by, which is currently captured in the activity log, that we want to put in tags automatically so we don't lose that valuable information. Rule-based tagging is another one, where we want to leverage existing tag or existing information, like for example product and geo, to set the cost center, so we can automatically derive those tag values from existing values. Report subscriptions. This feature is simply about emailing dashboard and cost summary reports directly to your inbox. And let's quickly touch on monthly cost variation as well. So this feature will help you to highlight the cost of new resources in any given month and the top variations of a month. So this will really help you to understand why costs change from month to month, and is very powerful to then get those insights and make the right decisions. Reserved instances. So we want to visualize the unused reserved instances in an actual dollar amount. When you look at the portal currently, you'll only see the portion of that reserved instances which is used or not used. And we'll also be able to add the used reserved instances to the actual resources, and therefore break them down with our tags for the cost reporting. So you get a more complete picture of the reserved instances you're actually using or you're not using, and the cost of that. And finally, lifecycle management. So that's basically a process-driven approach to review ongoing and offboard resources. By now you might be wondering how to get access. So easiest way is you can simply go to aka.ms/CloudClarity. That will bring you to our marketplace offering. You can also just search for CloudClarity in the Azure portal, or you can obviously go to our website, which is portal.cloudclarity.app. We do offer a 30-day trial and really encourage you to have a go and look around in your environment. So check your tag health, change tags with CloudClarity and see how that fits in your environment. Also want to encourage you to follow us on LinkedIn to get product news and how-to videos on CloudClarity, but also information on just tagging in general. For questions and ideas, please get in touch on LinkedIn. So you do have our LinkedIn profiles, or via portal.cloudclarity.app. We would really love to get your feedback and hear your comments. With that, I'd like to thank you for your time, and I'm asking the team whether we have any questions that we might be able to answer.
Yeah, so hey, listen, there is a quick question that's popped up, and I wonder if I can put you on the spot to do an impromptu demo. There was a question that came in that says, are you able to add new tag keys from the tag manager view? So Timo, would it be possible for you to kind of throw up that demo environment quickly and kind of show how you can create a new tag from the tag manager view?
No worries. Yeah, so that's right. So of course you can create tag keys in Azure, and in that particular matrix view there, it's very simple. So as before you saw, I added the business unit tag here and reviewed resources. If you wanted to create a new tag, all you have to do is type it in basically and hit enter. So if I was going to add, say, email, I just hit enter, and that would then create that column. And if I hit that cell, I've got the same allocator that we have in any other use case. And then I could add my email here, and I could then tag, and that would then update that and write that back to Azure. And then all our views would generate in real time analysis on this email tag cell and this email tag key. So that's how it can be easily done in the tool.
Cool, thank you. And
were there any other questions?
Yeah, another really interesting question that came through is really around hybrid. Now, I might put you on the spot here. I think we just kind of want to talk through this one a bit. So as we kind of think about Arc, we've got resources that are running on premise or maybe another cloud. How do we? Is there a way for us to be able to use CloudClarity tag manager to manage those tags across multiple resources and multiple clouds using Arc?
I'll let Sylvan answer that one.
So I take that one. I think as long as the tags are actually supported in the portal, and I think that's the case with Arc. So we can basically tag any resource, or we'll see any resource that's shown in the Azure portal that's actually taggable. So there are just a few resource types at the moment that are not taggable, which would be ignored. But when it comes to Arc resources, they should fit into that resource manager model, and they should be taggable. So yes.
Cool, fantastic. Thanks, and I think that it was a great demo. I mean, I love seeing this every single time. I kind of see it. I see the simplicity of it, and that just the visual of being able to control tags at scale, I think is really, really powerful. Any final thoughts from you all before we close out?
Well, I just want to say again, I guess what we saw with demos and trials and people actually using it, it's powerful if you actually use it in your own environment, because you can see the tag score in your environment, you can see your cost and your numbers, and I think that's the best thing you can do is actually sign up for a trial and have a go in your own environment.
Fantastic, thanks. Sylvan, Timo, appreciate you guys hanging out with us looking through this. Really powerful solution. For those kind of watching, feel free to join us for some of the other upcoming sessions. We've got sessions coming up pretty much every day this week. We will have them live as well as record them, and then things will be published into the aka.ms/CAF series. So thanks for your time. Thanks, Timo, Sylvan, and we'll speak to you again all soon. Cheers.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.